Paramount Plus. You said Mount. I said Mount. I said Mount. So I signed up for a Paramount Plus account because they took my Star Trek off of Netflix, and South Park Streaming Wars is on Paramount Plus, so I'll give it a chance. They kinda had me by the balls when they took my Star Trek. Beavis and Butthead are back, and it's kind of like they never left. This new Beavis and Butthead movie isn't so different from the original, but because this duo of horny, brain-dead losers have been absent for so long, it's a refreshing watch for anyone who grew up watching the show. There were preconceived notions that parents had about Beavis and Butthead, that it was crude and vulgar, which it was, but even as a kid, I didn't think these characters were role models. It was funny because they were so stupid, like Dumb and Dumber, or The Three Stooges. I had friends that were not allowed to watch this show, or The Simpsons when I was growing up, but I was watching Beavis and Butthead when I was about 10 years old, and I turned out okay, right? Right? Not only was I allowed to watch The Simpsons, but it was the time of the week when the whole family gathered around the TV, because it was something we could all agree on. In the way that The Simpsons started off as a satire of the nuclear American family, Beavis and Butthead is a satire of the youth culture of the 80s and 90s. At the time, associating with Generation X could mean you were cynical, apathetic, or nihilistic, as these qualities were prevalent in a lot of the alternative music and films of the time. Beavis and Butthead represented these traits to a comical extreme. They were those weird guys in high school who smelled funny, were probably high, started fires, and never stopped talking about their boners. Beavis and Butthead began as a short on a program MTV used to run called Liquid Television, which featured a variety of experimental shorts. Aeon Flux was also born from this show. The initial appeal of Beavis and Butthead was sort of a Looney Tunes-style anarchy, extreme cartoon violence taking place in a variety of institutions, such as the school, the hospital, or the fast food restaurant where the pair work. It's definitely the same approach to comedy as the old school joke where the wealthy socialite gets hit in the face with a pie, or when Bugs Bunny takes over as conductor of the opera purely to cause chaos. The idea is to take the piss out of institutions of authority. The original show incorporated these Looney Tunes-style shorts in with Beavis and Butthead reacting to music videos, not unlike the way Mystery Science Theater 3000 mocked low-budget movies.
Well, I'm glad that's over. Now it's over.
These were reaction videos before the era of the internet. They were so relatable because this is what you did with your friends. You sat around and made fun of bad movies and bad music videos. At least that's what I did, and I still pretty much do the same thing. Beavis and Butthead was a show on TV where characters sat around watching the TV station they were on. It was pretty meta and very groundbreaking because it was an early form of reaction content. A similar 90s property, Wayne's World, which just had its 30th anniversary this year, also predicted the rise of self-made celebrities producing videos out of their homes and presenting themselves as a brand. It's like Wayne's World was a satire of something that didn't really exist yet. It's not like there were a ton of people shooting televised top 10 list videos in the 90s. It's way more ubiquitous today. There's a new Beavis and Butthead show on Paramount Plus called Mike Judge's Beavis and Butthead, to distinguish it from the original, that uses the same format as the original show, except now they not only react to music videos, but also more modern content, TikToks and ASMR videos. The show feels very much the same as it ever did, whether Beavis and Butthead are trapped on a roof, inside of a cardboard box, or on a raft about to go over a waterfall. It makes a life or death situation humorous by satirizing the stupidity of American youth.
The moon sucks.
Beavis and Butthead might not have the complexity of the character development of King of the Hill, but it still does a good job at poking fun at our society. The new film and the new series both use the same art design of the original, while also updating the animation. It retains the look of Mike Judge's animation style, where the characters are portrayed a little more realistically than in shows like The Simpsons and South Park. Mike Judge still voices the duo, and his performance sounds pretty much the same as it did back in the 90s.
It's a story of sex, violence, power.
Yeah, and fire. Yeah, fire.
The sound design is well done. The sound effects and voices really pop whenever there's some kind of slapstick visual gag taking place.
What's that thing?
The first big joke is a Beavis getting kicked in the balls joke, but the timing is good. Like good drama, good comedy involves setup, anticipation, and payoff. It's a classic guy gets hit in the nuts joke.
You're not gonna kick me in the nads again, are you?
No, I'm not, Beavis. Those days are over.
There's a lot of nuance involved in making a good guy gets hit in the nuts joke. It can't be too realistic or it won't be funny. Comedy is also very subjective, and my sense of humor isn't always explainable. Sometimes a joke just makes me laugh in one instance, while in another context it falls flat. I think the reason the dumb humor of Beavis and Butthead works so well for me is because it's smart dumb humor. We're not identifying with the protagonists as much as we are laughing at them. The joke is that they find humor in everything we as adults find mundane and childish. We're laughing at them for laughing at the things that we're afraid to laugh at because we don't want to appear foolish.
Dumbass, not that number. That one. 69.
The jokes aren't all at the expense of our lead morons, as characters around them will often mistake them for being a lot more intelligent than they actually are, causing the audience to question the intelligence of all the different authority figures who think Beavis and Butthead are geniuses. It was the ATF in the original film, and in this new one, it's an astronaut turned governor of Texas, which plays into the time travel concept. Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe also follows a pretty tight format. It even has that late second act scene where the two main characters have a falling out at the low point of the film in order to reunite for the final act. The new film follows the flow of the original, except it incorporates time travel as a means of getting Beavis and Butthead out of the past and into 2022. In the original movie, the inciting incident was the pair having their TV stolen, the television being a very fitting MacGuffin given the time period. In the new movie, the jokes are about smartphones and AI. It's a pretty simple idea. Beavis and Butthead are obsessed with this training exercise, which is just a really big dick joke that had me laughing a lot harder than I probably should have been. They go on a mission to space, but mess it up, and end up time traveling to the modern day. In the 1996 film, the comedic misunderstanding was all because the Bruce Willis Muddy Grimes character thought Beavis and Butthead were trained killers, and he told him to go do his wife, but they thought they were going to get laid. That's the premise that this new movie is based on as well. The whole time they think they're going to get lucky. It's the same misunderstanding. They think this political figure wants to have sex with them, but we learn that no Beavis or Butthead from any universe has ever gotten laid. There's a running gag where the boys end up stealing a smartphone from a family of tourists, and Beavis thinks that Siri is his girlfriend. From here on, it might be aimless, but it's fun to see Beavis and Butthead engage with a modern university. They're told about white privilege, which they use as an excuse to cause havoc.
Sir, maybe you didn't know, but we have white privilege.
In the new movie, the duo uses a stolen smartphone to go on a spending spree. It's a hip-hop video with a jacuzzi full of nacho cheese. There are also some dream sequences, but the original film had more impressive montage sequences, such as the scene where the duo is stranded in the desert at the film's low point and they start hallucinating. This scene incorporated an entirely different animation style based on the works of Rob Zombie and really cements the film into the time period. It's very 1990s. I also like that they expanded the lore by having Beavis and Butthead meet their fathers. Presumably their fathers, because they're all too dumb to figure it out. Mike Judge has always been pretty smart about political humor in his shows. He doesn't really do a lot of jokes that are at the expense of one side of the political spectrum. There are characters that satirize all different kinds of beliefs and perspectives while still remaining somewhat grounded as characters. Even when Mike Judge used the Clinton family in Beavis and Butthead Do America or George W. Bush in King of the Hill, it was always the kind of humor with broad appeal. It was never partisan humor just bashing one side. The antagonist of the film, Serena Ryan, is a loose parody of Hillary Clinton, as seen with her campaign slogan. The funniest part about this is that she ends up being the first person that Beavis scores with.
I have a gigantic schlong. I hope that's okay.
But it's not the Beavis from this universe, it's Smart Beavis, and it's the first version of any Beavis to score in any universe, so he gets a medal, and Butthead gets a medal for watching. Serena represents the establishment that Beavis and Butthead are unknowingly going up against. They're always just thinking about getting laid, even when they end up causing mayhem such as starting a prison riot. We get the return of Beavis's alter ego, Cornholio, and if you don't know about Cornholio, the thing is, he needs TP for his bunghole. So they do this joke here where he inadvertently starts a movement over toilet paper and is seen as a hero. The humor is in how these straight normie characters often confuse Beavis and Butthead for being brilliantly capable. It's humor that isn't mean-spirited or hateful, even though people thought this show was going to corrupt children and turn them into derelicts. Like South Park, Beavis and Butthead pokes fun at culture war nonsense in a way that is purely irreverent and quite hilarious if you can just take yourself a little less seriously. I'm glad that Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe hasn't rebooted the pair in order to modernize them. They haven't turned Beavis and Butthead into incels, and they don't use the movie to address social issues like Me Too politics. They don't make Beavis and Butthead a gay couple and call it Beavis and Butthead Do Each Other, because nobody would watch that. It would get locked in the vault faster than you could say Batgirl. Beavis and Butthead is still just a journey of two blissfully ignorant dudes trying to get laid. Kind of like Don Quixote with a lot of dick jokes. I found this new Beavis and Butthead movie to be very funny. Most of the jokes work for me. Some are more plot related, like Beavis and Butthead being let out of a pair of handcuffs and then they're trying to get back in them but can't figure out how. And some are just absurd lines, like Butthead saying, "I'm a deer," when he's obviously a unicorn. This follows up a joke where Beavis is even getting cucked in his own dream.
It's just gonna be you and me, and Butthead.
I just really enjoyed the writing of this one. It's not anything we haven't seen before, but I'm going with an 8 out of 10 for Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. It's one of the funniest movies I've seen this year, but I think Beavis and Butthead Do America has stood the test of time and is perhaps more culturally significant. Beavis and Butthead Do America was released in December of 1996, before the South Park movie in 1999, or the Simpsons movie, which wasn't made until the summer of 2007. Originally, the studio wanted the Beavis and Butthead movie to be a live-action film starring David Spade and Adam Sandler, which would have been awful. Mike Judge was able to keep the film an animated one, with him doing the voices, but they did bring in some star power with Demi Moore and Bruce Willis, who both turn in fine performances. It's really Robert Stack as the government agent and Cloris Leachman as a little old lady on the bus that are the voice cast highlights, though.
Okay, people. As of right now, these are the most dangerous men in America.
Well, I hope to score big there myself. I'm mostly gonna be doing the slots.
Yeah, I'm hoping to do some sluts too.
You can definitely tell the difference between the animation in the original Beavis and Butthead movie and the new one. There is a much grainier and more organic look to the hand-drawn 1996 film, while the 2022 digital animation is more crisp and clean with thicker looking outlines on some of the characters. The 1996 film was created by people who worked primarily in television, but I think Beavis and Butthead translated to the big screen quite well. Beavis and Butthead Do America cost $12 million to make and scored $63 million at the box office, making it a verifiable hit. The largest December box office opening of all time when it was released. The story is a pretty basic Hollywood movie format. It begins with a stolen TV, but it becomes about a dangerous virus that has been sewn into Beavis' shorts by the femme fatale of the movie. The second act of the film is about the two lead characters traveling back across America from Las Vegas, so it's a road comedy, a MacGuffin chase to find a lost TV that turns into a story about two guys failing to get laid, but in the end, they get the TV back and walk off into the sunset. There's also the Las Vegas montage scene, where the animation is more complex than the show. This scene includes the moment where Beavis and Butthead see breasts for the first time, because you could show more in movies than you could on television. I hate to censor art here, but the algorithm can't tell the difference between art and pornography. And on some level I understand. It sucks that the algorithm has no way of perceiving the concept of fair use, but I don't think any human being should be subjected to the depths of depravity uploaded to the internet every day. The internet, which is a vastly growing server farm crowding our very existence until we're nothing more than ones and zeros, locked in a basement somewhere on a dead planet, and this video is all part of it. Damn, that's deep. Oh wait, that's just the plot of The Matrix. The landscape of comedy films sure has changed a lot since 1996. Look at a list of comedies that came out that year. Comedies that took stupidity to the extreme, but when I was 12 were pretty funny. Happy Gilmore, Kingpin, The Cable Guy. There are even more notable comedies from 1996 on top of these, but what happened to comedy films? Look at a list of comedic films from 2022. Dog, a movie about Channing Tatum and a dog. The Lost City, a movie about Channing Tatum and some chick. A remake of Father of the Bride. Home Team. The Bubble. Senior Year. Good Luck to You, Leo Grande. Oh, that has my name in it. I'll have to watch that one. I just wonder if anyone is going to remember any of these movies in 20 years. Can anyone even remember these movies now? I will give Beavis and Butthead Do America a 9 out of 10, because when I look at a list of comedies that were released in 1996, it's my favorite out of all the ones I've seen. And I would also rank it highly outside of just the comedy films released that year. If 9 out of 10 for a Beavis and Butthead movie seems too high of a score, then take into account that I'm an idiot.
I don't have any guess, cause we couldn't find one. So, here's Beavis.
Dun, 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 dun,